Hi everyone, it's Glenn again, Mudflood Australia. Just wanted to follow up on the last video. This is a very quick one. Step pyramids. We've been going on and on about them, and like here's one here, here's one here. It's the typical step pyramids, most common. And I thought, well, they're probably quite ornamental. There's just going back to the last video, I discussed a guy called Maslin that did the Friends of Australia and talked about the inland sea. And this guy was obsessed about writing about how you do everything. And one of these things was on the formation of tanks in Australia. And he made his observations from all these things in India. He decided to do 3 classifications: the village or pagoda tank, farm tank, great tank. And so here's an image from the top. And it says it's about 40 yards, of all things, 40 yards. The number 40 comes up a lot. Bottom, there's the bottom of the tank, the ornamental temple in the middle. And in the side view of something like this, here's a step. You might get something ornamental at the top, and the water would come through, and then you'd manage the water levels, and it would fill up. So as long as this was somewhat lower than the water source, and eventually using this apparatus, you could the water would come in, and the level would be, using logic, if it could easily fill up to that, provided that the water source was somewhere else higher. Common sense, then you just close it off, I guess. I haven't read all this totally, but I just wanted to show you that this was obviously common. And it had been around, and it was written in a book as if it was normal for it to create a farm tank like this. And naturally, over time, when people lost interest in this kind of tank construction, you can imagine that they would have just filled up with sediment, or the interior of it would have corroded. Most likely these are geopolymer stones. And they would have just filled it with mud or mud flood or whatever, and it just fills up, and it becomes solid in the middle, I guess, and it starts falling down. And yes, it might have an ornament at the top for worship, and then you can imagine in a degrading society. Let's go back to what I was looking at before. I mean, if this was used, maybe this was always ceremonial, but if something more basic like this was used as a farm tank, you could easily, just build up higher and higher over time, and make it ceremonial. You could easily have made stories that they sacrificed people, or you could have had a cult formulate. One of my theories about Central America is that it was infiltrated before the 1500s by the Templars, and most likely the rulers of the original mines were thrown out and replaced by a dystopian hierarchy that worked for the Templars, and then of course they created a death cult and an occultist cult, thereby destroying their own civilization. And then of course we have the 1500s where the rest of people were destroyed, and then we had colonists. That's roughly what I think happened, but generally I think that these structures, in the simpler version of these structures, would probably be just served as water tanks. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say. So thanks very much.